In the vast expanse of the Milky Way, where stars twinkled like indifferent jewels scattered across an infinite black velvet, the Galactic Empire reigned supreme. For millennia, the Empire had expanded its dominion, conquering worlds with fleets of colossal starships armed with plasma cannons and quantum disruptors. At its heart lay the imperial core, a cluster of hyper-advanced planets orbiting the supermassive black hole at the galaxy's center. Here, the Emperor, a being of pure energy encased in a crystalline shell, oversaw a council of representatives from 1,000 species. The Empire was a marvel of unity forged through force, diverse aliens coexisting under the banner of imperial might, their cultures blended into a homogenized tapestry of progress and subjugation. Earth, however, was a punchline. Tucked away in a spiral arm, Sol 3 was dismissed as a backwater rock inhabited by primitive bipeds who still quarreled over dirt and resources. Imperial scouts had visited centuries ago, during humanity's industrial age, and reported back with amusement. They burn fossil fuels and dream of reaching their own moon, one report sneered. Their greatest achievement is splitting the atom. How quaint. The Empire's holovids often featured comedic skits portraying humans as clumsy apes fumbling with basic warp drives, their spaceships leaking oxygen like sieves. Laughter echoed through the grand halls of the Imperial Palace whenever Earth's name was mentioned. Let them play in their sandbox, the Emperor decreed. They pose no threat. But humanity had been listening. For generations, Earth's scientists and leaders had intercepted faint signals from the stars, imperial broadcasts mocking their insignificance. It fueled a fire. In hidden bunkers beneath the Himalayas and the Antarctic ice, Project Ascension was born. A coalition of nations pooled their intellects, forging technologies born not from conquest but from desperation and ingenuity. They reverse-engineered alien artifacts salvaged from crashed probes, blending them with human innovation. Nanobots that could reshape matter at the atomic level. Neural interfaces, linking minds into collective hives. And the crowning jewel, the Void Engine, a drive that folded space-time like origami, allowing instantaneous jumps across light years without the Empire's cumbersome warp gates. Captain Alara Voss stood on the bridge of the Terran Vanguard, Earth's flagship, as it emerged from its maiden void jump. She was a tall woman in her 40s, with sharp features etched by years of zero-gravity training and eyes that burned with the resolve of a species scorned. Her crew, a diverse assembly of humans from every corner of Earth, engineers from Beijing, pilots from Nairobi, tacticians from New York, manned stations with quiet efficiency. The ship itself was a testament to human grit, sleek and angular, cloaked in adaptive metamaterials that rendered it invisible to imperial sensors. No ostentatious spires or glowing engines, just purposeful, deadly elegance. Status report, Alara barked, her voice steady despite the adrenaline surging through her veins. All systems nominal, Captain, replied Lieutenant Kai Chin, his fingers dancing over holographic controls. We've materialized in the outskirts of the Vega system. Imperial outpost detected, light cruiser class, minimal defenses. Alara nodded, staring at the view screen where the Imperial vessel hung like a bloated insect against a starry backdrop. Vega Prime was a minor colony, a refueling station for Empire patrols. It was the perfect first target, isolated, underguarded, and symbolic. The Empire had claimed Vega decades ago, displacing a fledgling human probe that had dared venture there. Now, Earth would reclaim it. Engage stealth protocols. Prepare boarding teams, she ordered. As the Vanguard ghosted closer, the Imperial crew aboard the outpost remained oblivious. In the station's command center, Commander Zyler, a tentacled Vexian with iridescent skin, lounged in his grav chair, sipping nutrient slime. His subordinates, a mix of reptilian Drakons and avian Kree, chattered idly about the latest holovid from the core. Did you hear? Another primitive world surrendered without a fight. A Draken hissed, its forked tongue flickering. Zyler chuckled, a wet gurgle. Of course. Who wouldn't bow to the Empire? Except maybe those Earthlings still stuck on their mudball, inventing wheels or whatever. Laughter rippled through the room, but it died abruptly as alarms blared. Intruder alert. Unknown vessel decloaking. On the view screen, the Vanguard materialized like a specter. Before Xyler could react, boarding pods launched, latching onto the station's hull with magnetic clamps. Human Marines in powered exocets breached the airlocks, their rifles humming with charged plasma, tech pilfered and improved from imperial designs. The battle was swift and brutal. Xyler's security forces, accustomed to quelling minor rebellions, were outmatched by the humans' ferocity. One Marine, Sergeant Maria Ruiz, charged through a corridor, her suit's nanites repairing a glancing laser burn mid-stride. She felled a Draken with a precise shot, then hacked the station's core with a neural spike. Data flooded back to the Vanguard. Imperial codes, fleet positions, weaknesses in their vaunted shields. By the time Alara stepped onto the captured bridge, Xylo was on his knees, or what passed for knees in his anatomy, tentacles raised in surrender. You're from Earth? He stammered, his translator struggling with the shock. Alara smiled coldly. We arrived. News of Vega Prime's fall spread like a supernova through the Empire. At first, it was dismissed as a hoax. Earth? Conquering a station? Preposterous, the counselors scoffed in the Imperial Palace. But holovids confirmed it. Human soldiers, their faces grim and determined, planting Earth's flag, a blue marble on a starry field, over the outpost. The Emperor's energy form flickered with irritation. Dispatch a task force. Crush this insolence. The task force, led by Admiral Krax, a hulking Gorvian with armored plates and a reputation for merciless efficiency, warped into Vega space. 3 destroyers, each the size of a small moon, bristling with weapons. They expected a quick mop-up, perhaps a few primitive ships to vaporize for sport. What they found was an ambush. The Vanguard had not idled. Using captured Imperial tech, Earth's engineers had rigged Vega's asteroid field with void mines, devices that created microsingularities, warping enemy ships into oblivion. As Krax's fleet advanced, the mines detonated. One destroyer crumpled like tin foil, its hull folding inward. Another lost its engines, drifting helplessly. Impossible. Krax roared from his bridge. Scan for hostiles. But the Vanguard was already upon them, its void engine allowing hit-and-run strikes. Alara's ship blinked in and out of reality, unleashing torpedoes laced with antimatter. The 3rd destroyer managed a counterattack, its plasma beams scorching the Vanguard's shields. Alarms wailed as hull breaches opened. Damage report. Alara shouted. Shields at 40%, Captain, Kai reported. But we've got their flagship isolated. Alara made the call. All hands, prepare for Phase 2. Phase 2 was humanity's ace, the hive-mind. Neural implants linked the crew's thoughts, turning them into a synchronized swarm. Pilots anticipated maneuvers before they were ordered. Gunners fired with preternatural accuracy. The Vanguard danced through the debris, closing on Krax's ship. Boarding teams swarmed aboard. In the corridors, humans clashed with Gorvian warriors. Sergeant Ruiz led the charge again, her exosuit augmented by the hive link. She dodged a vibroac swing, countering with a point-blank shot that pierced Krax's personal guard. On the Admiral's bridge, Krax faced Alara herself. The Gorvian towered over her, claws extended. You insects dare challenge the Empire? We've been called worse, Alara replied, activating her personal shield, a bubble of distorted spacetime. Krax lunged, but his claws glanced off. In the hive-mind, Alara drew on her crew's knowledge, a biologist's insight into Gorvian anatomy, an engineer's hack of the ship's systems. She fired a neural disruptor, paralyzing Krax. With the task force in ruins, Earth claimed Vega as its foothold. Reinforcements arrived from Sol. Dozens of ships, each born from Project Ascension's forges. Humanity's population, united under the Terran Alliance, poured resources into the war effort. Factories on Mars churned out drones. Lunar shipyards assembled fleets. But it wasn't just might. Earth's diplomats broadcast messages to the Empire's oppressed worlds. We were laughed at too, the transmission said. Join us and laugh no more. Ripples of rebellion stirred. On the slave world of Zorath, insectoid workers sabotaged imperial mines. In the nebula colonies, gaseous entities whispered of alliance. The Empire, once monolithic, cracked. The middle phase of the conflict escalated into a galactic chess game. The Emperor mobilized the Grand Fleet, an armada of 1,000 vessels, commanded by Grand Marshal Vera, a cybernetic hybrid of machine and flesh. Vera was ruthless, her processors calculating probabilities with cold precision. Earth's tricks are finite, she declared. We will overwhelm them. The first major clash occurred at the Nexus wormhole, a strategic choke point linking the core to the outer arms. Earth's forces, now bolstered by allied rebels, a fleet of patchwork ships from Zorath and beyond, fortified the area. Alara, promoted to admiral, coordinated from the vanguard, now upgraded with imperial spoils. Enemy inbound, Kai announced, his voice tense. The wormhole shimmered, disgorging the Grand Fleet like a horde of locusts. The battle was chaos incarnate. Laser fire crisscrossed the void. Ships exploded in silent blooms. Earth's void engines allowed guerrilla tactics, blinking behind enemy lines to strike at command vessels. But the Empire's numbers pressed hard. A rebel cruiser vaporized beside the vanguard, its debris pelting the shields. In the hive-mind, Alara felt the pain of lost comrades, sharp stabs of grief amplified across the link. Hold the line, she urged mentally, rallying the fleet. Sergeant Ruiz, now leading a squadron of Marines, boarded an Imperial dreadnought. Her team navigated zero-gravity hulls, dispatching guards with silenced weapons. In the engine room, they planted a singularity bomb, escaping just as the ship imploded. Yet victory came at a cost. The Vanguard took a direct hit, its void engine faltering. Alara ordered a retreat through a makeshift jump, leaving the wormhole contested but not lost. Back on Earth, in the Alliance's war room buried under Geneva, President Aiden Locke paced before holographic maps. A seasoned statesman with silver hair and a voice like gravel, he had unified humanity through sheer will. We've bloodied them, but the core remains untouched, he said to his advisors. Dr. Lena Novak, the brilliant physicist behind the Void engine, nodded. We need an edge. The Empire's power source, the Black Hole Forge. If we disrupt it. It was audacious, a strike at the heart of the Empire. But humanity thrived on audacity. Months of preparation followed. Spies, human agents augmented with chameleon nanites, infiltrated imperial worlds, gathering intel. Alliances grew. The Zorathians provided swarm drones, the Nebulans offered cloaking fields. Earth's fleet expanded to hundreds, each ship a blend of human ingenuity and alien tech. The final push began with diversionary attacks on peripheral systems, drawing Imperial forces then. Then, the main strike force, led by the rebuilt Vanguard, void jumped to the core's edge. Alarms rang across the Imperial Palace as sensors detected the intruders. The Emperor's form pulsed with fury. Activate the Forge defenses. Annihilate them. The Black Hole Forge was a megastructure orbiting the galactic center, harnessing the black hole's energy to power the Empire's weapons. Ringed by fortresses and shielded by gravitational fields, it was impregnable, or so they thought. Alara's fleet emerged amid a storm of fire. Void mines cleared paths through minefields. Hive-linked pilots evaded turrets. Rebel allies swarmed like bees, distracting defenders. On the Vanguard's bridge, Alara gripped her console as the ship shuddered. Target the Forge's stabilizers. Full barrage. Torpedoes lanced out, striking key points identified by spies. Cracks spiderwebbed across the structure. Imperial reinforcements warped in, but too late. Grand Marshal Vera's flagship engaged directly. You primitives end here, her voice broadcasted. Alara responded with action. Using the hive-mind, her crew overloaded the Void engine for a desperate maneuver, a point-blank jump into Vera's ship. The Vanguard phased through shields, materializing on the enemy bridge. Chaos ensued. Marines poured in, clashing with cybernetic guards. Alara faced Vera, disruptor in hand. The Marshal's mechanical arms whirred, launching projectiles. Alara dodged, her suit's nanites adapting. You fight for what? Pride. Vera sneered. For everything you mocked, Alara retorted, firing. The shot pierced Vera's core, sparks flying as she collapsed. With Vera down, Imperial resistance faltered. The forge destabilized, its energy feedback looping into a cataclysmic surge. Evacuations began as the structure tore apart. The Emperor, sensing defeat, attempted to flee in a personal pod. But Earth's drones intercepted, tractor beams pulling it back. In the aftermath, Alara stood on the ruins of the palace, the Emperor's crystal shattered at her feet. Allied forces secured the core, dismantling the Empire's hierarchies. Earth didn't conquer, it liberated. New councils formed, with humans as equals among stars. Worlds once subjugated flourished, sharing knowledge freely. Back on Sol 3, under a clear night sky, Alara gazed at the stars, no longer distant mockers, but neighbors. Humanity had arrived, not with laughter, but with thunder. And the galaxy would never forget.